So what would you say are some just concrete things a Catholic young adult could do in terms of discernment? Priesthood, religious life, married life, daily choices. Like, what are some good how-to discernment tips that they can do to kind of take this restlessness and act upon it?
Right. I think the first thing we're all called to holiness in Christ. And so that really necessitates our prayer life. Are we praying daily? Are we living the rich sacramental life of the church? Not just on Sundays, but I dare say it, maybe even during the week. Even if the median age is 85, you can bring that average down at least 15 years by your presence, many of you. But availing yourself to the gift of the sacraments. We're celebrating shortly the beatification of Carlo Acutis, 15-year-old just brainiac from Italy who, was a video gamer, a programmer, and yet every single day he not just dragged himself, he ran to Mass. He ran to Mass, and his quote was, "The Eucharist is my highway to heaven." And as we can see in his life, it certainly was, where in such a short time frame, 15 years, which is nothing, it's a blink of an eye, this young man attained the heights of sanctity. What a beautiful, beautiful example. And I love how he's just like buried in a tracksuit and jeans and a pair of Nikes.
Yes, and he had a PlayStation.
Just do it. But Jason, the first thing is our prayer life. Taking that seriously. It's not just something that's a part of our relationship with God. It is our relationship with God. It's our lifeline. And so sacraments, if you want to take it a step further, especially when it comes to your spiritual life, your walk, your vocation, your discernment, there's a sort of hidden, for those In-N-Out Burger fans out in the world, it's a pretty simple menu, and yet there's like a secret menu where you can ask for things that aren't there.
Double grilled animal style.
Spiritual direction. Exactly. Yeah. Spiritual direction is one of those hidden menu choices in the Catholic Church where essentially people can ask a priest or a pastor, sometimes a religious, or even lay people who are trained in it to be their spiritual director. And essentially this could mean like you meet once a month and you share things about what God is doing in your life. You have their assistance in helping you to see what might God be asking you to do in really any given situation. And so if a person is thinking, pondering, maybe they have this little nudge about a vocation, it would be good to begin meeting with someone. Now, every diocese typically has a dedicated vocations director whose mission it is specifically to journey with men and women who are asking this question. So figure out who that is and maybe set up an appointment. But really, there's a lot of fear sometimes because I think the number one thing, Jason, is there's just this fear that I might have to sacrifice something. I might have to deny myself the very natural, desirable thing of being married, right? Having a special someone in our life, raising a family. And, while I can't take the edge off of that kind of sacrifice, I will say this, that once again, from the many priests and religious I'm blessed to know personally, to have friendships with, their lives are filled with joy, and as you know, Jason, I can attest to as well. If you think marriage is some sort of cakewalk,
that's a great way to avoid mortification. Just get married. You're in the clear. Sure.
I'm going to get really blunt, Jason. If you think that the solution to all your problems in life is sex, you have something coming to you. Okay?
Yeah, surprise.
Surprise. You don't believe me? Watch Dr. Phil. Huh?
Yeah.
They should be happier. They're not.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because it's not the end all be all of our life is not the fulfillment of sexual desire. It's not this Freudian sort of fantasy solution. The solution that we're looking for, or the answer to the many questions in life, really goes back to the very simple understanding that St. John Paul was communicating to us all those years, that our lives do not make sense to the degree unless we make a gift of ourselves to others. And so it's in making a gift of ourselves, whether that does mean as a husband or as a wife, whether that does mean as a priest or as a religious, but it is in giving of ourselves that we receive not only the blessing of living a life that is full in Christ, but just, it just makes sense when we're being a blessing to others. And we're all hardwired that way. I'd like to believe that everyone watching this has done something kind for another human being in life. And when we do that, there's even this physiological reaction that happens. There's an endorphin shot to our brain. This is good. It is good to be good to others, you know? Whereas if we do evil things, or we do things that might feel good momentarily, and yet there's this residual sort of remorse, that is also hardwired. And God is trying to lead us in a very simple, natural way to the meaning of our life, right? Perhaps even through trial and error, but nonetheless, we're all called to give of ourselves in that way, in love to God and to neighbor. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously we're all going to be called to a specific way to do that, as a single person, as a consecrated, or as a married person. Really, these are only the three main options here. There might be some like offshoots, but really those are the main three. But once again, overall is the universal call to holiness.